All right, so check this out. Look at this article right here from Protos. It seems like Craig Wright is now is about to get his just due of him running around telling people that he is the inventor of Bitcoin, the Satoshi Nakamoto. He is now being sued for those reasons. Look at this article. Emotional Craig Wright tells COPA, the people, the organization, the alliance that is suing him, that he was framed with forged documents. Now, all of a sudden, this man goes on a barrage of suing people who's been calling him a fraud, saying that he is not the inventor of Bitcoin or that he is not Satoshi Nakamoto, is now becoming emotional because now COPA, the entity, the plaintiff that is suing him, is saying that he is lying. So now he has to provide evidence that he's actually the Bitcoin inventor. Now, this article came out on February the 7th, 2024. Lawyers for the pro-BTC advocacy group are cross-examining the pro-BSV Craig Wright in London. This is in London's court system. During his second day of testifying as a defendant, Wright attempted to get away from a barrage of legal questions, often claiming that he was set up to look like a liar. Set up. So he goes around for years stating that he is Satoshi Nakamoto, that he is the inventor of the white paper of Bitcoin. And now when people come and ask you questions, now all of a sudden you're set up. Now all of a sudden you're trying to be made as a liar. The conversation focused on edited computer files that Wright has presented over the years as evidence of his claim to be anonymous Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto. So they're taking the evidence that he actually presented in the cases that he sued other people, stating that he was a fraud. They were taking that same evidence and using it against him, because apparently that evidence has been edited, forged, faked. Now, this is COPA right here. These are the businesses organization that is behind COPA. You have Coinbase, MicroStrategy, and Jack Dorsey. These are the individuals backing this organization or this alliance, Crypto Open Patent Alliance. They're the one that filed a lawsuit against Craig, alleging that many of the documents that he has submitted are intentional forgeries, meaning that they're on purpose. He knew that what he was doing was wrong, that in fact it wasn't real documents. That's what they're alleging. Regarding certain documents, even his own expert witness agrees to that. This article goes on to say, nevertheless, as the world learned from Tuesday's courtroom session, Wright still protests his innocence by claiming that other people, so now we're coming to other people. He's trying to deflect the blame off of himself. Who are these other people? Drop their names so we can actually see who you're talking about. Because why would they want to come and set you up, Craig? That other people via Reddit, forums, emails, unauthorized computer access, and otherwise force his computer files to frame him as a cheater? What value would those other people get by framing Craig? So as you can tell, that his basis of saying that he's been set up is falling flat, because for one, he's not dropping names. And then for two, what gain would those individuals get by framing him? The world would not know who Craig Wright even was until he voiced stating that he was the inventor of Bitcoin, that he was the inventor of the Bitcoin white paper. Would nobody even know about this man until he injected himself into the conversation. In the case of one document submitted by Craig in 2019. Okay, now he submitted this document to the courts when he was suing some other individuals. He the one that submitted these documents. He claimed that his former partner, Greg Maxwell, edited in 2016, somehow knowing that Wright would use it years later to claim that he was Satoshi. So he submitted this document in 2019, stating that this man, Greg, who was his partner, at that time in 2016, edited his documents because he knew that Craig in 2019 was going to say that he was Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, make it make sense. Make it make sense. The authenticity and provenance of computer files are the focus of this lawsuit. Yeah, so the lawyers of COPA is going to prove the authenticity of provenance of computer files that Craig submitted in his court in the cases. Now, if he loses this lawsuit, I'm talking about Craig now. If he loses this lawsuit, that will make him stop going out in public forum, public spaces, websites, stating that he is the actual Satoshi Nakamoto. COPA could gain an injunction stopping him, talking about Craig, from suing Bitcoin developers again in London. Wright's preferred jurisdiction due to favorable treatment of plaintiffs regarding legal fees and burden of proof standard. That's why he's suing these other individuals, stating that he's a fraud. The stakes are equally high for Bitcoin developers who are essentially fighting for their right to work on Bitcoin without needing to defend themselves in court. It seems to me like Craig has a lot of money to be suing these people. So that's why you have Coinbase, MicroStrategy, Jack Dorsey putting their money behind this alliance, because they're formulating a barrier to prevent this man, Craig Wright, from suing other people, because he's trying to copyright Bitcoin or the code or the software or the white paper, when we all know that Bitcoin has been open sourced, decentralized. But now Craig wants to come out and saying that he's the owner. He needs to get the copyright. He needs to patent the Bitcoin so he has complete control over it. Now, he has gone, and I'm talking about Craig, has gone and sued many people. He sued Roger Ver for fraud, because Roger called him a fraud. He sued Peter McCormick. Here's some of the articles right here talking about it. Okay, so in one case to where Craig Wright sued Peter McCormick, he lost. Craig Wright loses Peter McCormick's case ahead of COPA decision. Another strike down. What Bitcoin Did podcast host Peter McCormick has prevailed against dubiously self-proclaimed Bitcoin inventor Craig Wright in the UK Supreme Court. The High Court of Justice denied Wright's bid for an appeal of his loss against McCormick after a 3-judge panel ruled that Wright's appeal did not sufficiently specify an arguable question of law. And here is McCormick's tweet. My lords have just confirmed that Craig Wright has had his final appeal denied by the Supreme Court. It is over. I won. Welcome to the law, MF. Permission to appeal was refused by 3 Supreme Court justices, Lord Briggs, Lady Rose, and Lord Richards, on grounds the appeal did not raise an arguable question of law. This is the end of the line for Wright's substantive claim against me. 5 years of going through this. 5 years. It is now over. In an earlier chapter of their legal saga, Craig actually won. Look at what he actually won. He won damages of $1.27. $1.27. I think the courts is trying to drop a message to Craig. It's like, look, you have nothing here. You have nothing here, Craig. Let it go. $1.27. £1 is what this man got from the case of damages. Far more importantly, however, the presiding judge in that case wrote that Wright presented false evidence. Wow, This man came through, sued Peter McCormick, got damages of $1.27, and then turned around. The judge of the case said that he presented false evidence. That case should have been thrown out automatically. It should not even been damages even awarded on that case if he presented false evidence. The judge even acknowledged that. The walls against Craig are now crumbling and falling down because they're using, and I'm talking about COPA, in their current lawsuit against him, they're using this evidence against him. And now he's going to run and say that he's been set up. Here's the other article from Decrypt. Craig Wright loses appeal against Bitcoin.com's Roger Ver. The people that he's been suing, he's been losing to. All to stop the individual that he's suing from stating that he's a fraud, that he's a lie, that he's not true. These cases can now be used as evidence against him. And the evidence that he submitted in these cases that he sued Roger Ver and Peter McCormick. COPA can now use this evidence against Craig, which they are doing in a current lawsuit, which to me look like he is not going to win. That is why he is coming through saying that he's been set up. But that's not a defense. You running around saying that someone came through and actually edited your files doesn't mean that you've been set up, because maybe you are the one forging or falsifying these documents. Here, Wright denied almost all of COPA's allegations of personally forging or falsifying the documents. COPA, they zoomed in on one of the documents with irregularities, such as misaligned characters printed on one document. Oh, so now they're really going through these documents, fine-tooth comb, really spacing everything out to see, okay, where are the discrepancies? Is it different here? Does it look odd there? Could someone have changed something here? Occasionally, Wright acknowledged that a document was edited. Oh, so he proved that what COPA has presented as evidence is actually true. But again, he almost always claimed that someone else made those edits to make him look bad. To make him look bad. Why? And then here's a tweet going through that document editing. Presiding Judge Mellor acknowledged the allegations of forged documents during the opening statement, saying Wright should consider himself extremely lucky to get to make his case at all. Wow. In the courtroom, Wright also became emotional when challenged and became increasingly agitated while on the stand. He claimed to be better with code than words. This man was on the hot seat. COPA was asking him questions under penalties of perjury. So you have to tell the truth from the questions that the plaintiff was asking him. And those questions was hitting him so hard that you saw him falter, that this man began to stumble, that this man could not even speak because he knew that he was lying on those questions that was being asked. You usually become emotional when you see that the jig is up, that you've been caught, that your answers to the question that has been asked doesn't make any sense. Now, Wright was further accused of relying on ChatGPT to forge documents when pressed for time. These alleged forgeries have played a role in his other lawsuits, like Kleiman versus Wright. Presiding Judge Bruce Reinhardt wrote in 2020, Craig Wright has produced forged documents in this litigation. I have previously found that Dr. Wright gave perjured testimony in my presence. COPA is using all of this against this man. All of it. Now, here it is a little bit. COPA presented evidence that Wright has made factual errors in his arguments. The 54-year-old claimed that he wrote the original Bitcoin white paper in LaTeX. Okay, so this is what Craig is saying. He wrote it in LaTeX. But the experts testify that whoever wrote the white paper did it in OpenOffice. Typographical binary codes within the PDF were cited as evidence. COPA also alleges that Wright's supposed 2007 time capsule contained documents that were added, modified, deleted in September 2023. Wright knew how to roll back his computer's clock to make it look like the files were created in 2007. COPA argued that, but he forgot to scrub the evidence. This is what computer forensic is all about. This man, it doesn't look good for him. I must admit, it doesn't look good for Craig. Hopefully that with this particular case, it will cause, like the first article talked about, cause an injunction to where he can't run around and sue people. Bitcoin people, developers can actually start building off of Bitcoin again without fear of being sued. Maybe this could be the end of this. We'll see what happens. Bitcoin's price action, you guys can see that we talked about it maybe a day or two ago, looking for the market to go up. Real quick, simple, easy. All right, so I'm not going to talk about the price action in Bitcoin. I'm still looking for the price action to go up. Go back and check out my last video about Bitcoin's price actions to see where I'm thinking price is going to go. And that is it. But go ahead and give me your thoughts though. Make sure you maintain the profitability. And as always, trade different.